Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey to publication. I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Christina Catane, and I write in multiple genres, including Christian, dystopian fiction.
I'm Rhonda Hagerman, and I write fiction and nonfiction.
And we're all together today. Happy. I traveled because Tina is having a book launch party, and there's no way I would miss that for anything. When is that coming up, Tina?
November 14th.
Whoop, whoop. So why don't you talk about your what's up, since that's what we usually do. We go around and say, what's up?
Well, I'm having a book launch party on November 14th, and it's going to be at Beloved Books in Linden, Michigan. And if you're not in Michigan, don't despair, because from 3 to 4, I'm having a virtual book launch party, and there are prizes that you can win for showing up. So
yeah, you want to
be
show
there.
up
And that's
virtually.
Eastern time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Eastern time. And we did the daylight savings jazz.
Yeah,
so
and we forgot to mention that last week. I had it on my list of things for us to talk about. So everyone in the UK, Maria, really sorry. We forgot to remind everybody that, yes, here in the United States, we have this wacky thing that we do. And so it is now 10 a.m. here for us. So I know it's still like different for you guys, but.
Yeah. So sorry about that. So yes, welcome to the podcast, and we're all together, and this is a happy time. And so, like I said, we go around, we do a what's up, and that's your what's up, Tina's your
Pretty much, yeah.
And
I got a big box full of books yesterday. So
Yay.
that was exciting.
That's so exciting when you get stuff in the mail. Yeah, you've had all kinds of goodies coming. Yeah, check out earlier episodes. Tina got like a great big giant banner that's like a picture of her book. She didn't pay a lot of money. I think we talked about that 1 or 2 episodes ago, so go check that out.
Shell says, I'm 40% through the book. It is so good. I love Angelica.
Yay!
So glad you like it.
That's so great. Awesome. Well, also, what's up with you, Jen?
Well,
We're
this
here.
is another room of my new house, and we're here.
You had invaders. You had invaders today. What
There's
was that
boxes that
like?
are, don't mind the sawhorses that are back there and the other things, but it's a mess. But yes, we're almost completely done with the move, and I'm super stressed out. I have not done a ton of writing this week, but I've done a lot of really good outlining, and I found actual chapters that I wrote for this idea. And so I'm going to rewrite them because it's not really great writing, but that's going to be very helpful because I've read the chapter and then I'm just going to rewrite it. So that will help with the sprinting.
Yeah.
So I'm really confident that I can catch up with Nano. So I'm very excited about this
billionaire
romance.
It is now a billionaire romance, but clean.
It's a Christmas one too. It's a Christmas one. I knew you'd love that.
Yeah, Jen is like moving houses, as we said, and so what's unfortunate or fortunate, depending on how you look at it, is her Christmas tree is like right here. Yes, like right there to like greet Rhonda as Rhonda came in.
No, her one, and then I was sabotaged by one in the kitchen.
Okay, so those two actually are not my actual Christmas tree. They're just the dining room trees.
Oh,
they
my
go on either
goodness.
side of the china
Oh
cabinet
my goodness.
and get.
Wow.
All right. Well, we're gonna be walking in a winter wonderland if we come back here at a different time of year. What's up with you, Rhonda?
Let's see. Well, it's just been Nano week. I've been trying to sprint every day and working on I also am moving, and this week I made so much more progress than I have in the last 3 months that I feel like I can actually start moving on with my life.
Oh,
wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Can't wait to be that place.
It won't be long.
Yes, it is a season.
It is a season.
All right, and I'll talk about my what's up. I am traveling, which is really what's going on with me. It's so nice to be back in Michigan because, well, I grew up here, right? And I lived in Kentucky for 4 years, so it was always nice to come home. And I love a road trip. Let me just tell you, I was way overdue for a road trip. And God loves me because he gave me beautiful weather for the whole ride up. No drama, no stress, and it's just been an amazing trip, and I get to see all my friends, so I am happy, and I am jacked up on caffeine, so sorry if I'm, like, I was such a freak before we started here. I didn't even know if I should be hosting today, and I cannot find my document with the outline, so if someone else can say, oh, good, Jen's got one right there. Oh, here's the intro. Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. But we already did that part, so we're going to move on to our topic, which is guess what? We wrote a book. We wrote a book.
Can I just interrupt for
Yes,
1 second?
go for it.
I was supposed to lock my dogs up before we started this,
Oh,
and I forgot.
they will bark.
Old man, no, I'm not worried about that. Old man Toby is out asleep somewhere, but Sophia is really being annoying. So she might make an appearance in my lap. So just giving you guys that forewarning. I'm really sorry for
We might have to look at a cute dog.
Here.
Whatever shall we do? I don't understand why.
Aw.
Puppy snuggles.
She has quarantine hair still.
Oh, well, you know,
Don't we
don't we
all?
all?
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're supposed to be talking about how our book is launched. Now, first of all, I just would like to say to each of you, congratulations, because like to publish a book, period, is a big deal.
Congratulations to you as well.
Yes, well, thank you. Yes, and also I would like to say thank you for putting up with me, because 4 people working together to do anything is not fun, is it? Right? And so good for us for like working together as a team.
Well,
You know what I mean?
Thank you, Jamie, because if it hadn't been for you nagging us every Tuesday morning, what about the book? What about the book?
This has been going on for months. Like
Yes.
everyone's like, when you if you are a published author, you know how much work it is. Times that, not by 4, probably about 70, because it's just a different beast when you have to work with other people to get it done. And everyone has different personalities and different work like schedule, just the way you do things,
Yeah.
right? Like just even little things. I
Yes.
just sent you the link if you want.
Yep, see? Yep.
So
And that's what's awesome is like, and in spite of that, we are only a day later than we plan to launch. Like that is a major accomplishment.
Right.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 people,
Mhm.
for strangers, basically, before we met each other.
Right.
So to
Yes.
us, we really feel like we did something. We climbed a mountain, right? So like, we're so happy that you guys are celebrating with us because you've been pretty much on with us the whole time. If you're watching right now, we know you're like on our side. And we know this because we've already gotten great reviews about the book. Should we share those now?
that would be great.
Tina, why don't you read the one that you got over there?
Okay. The one I'm reading was written by Gigi Wagner.
Of course, Gigi.
We love you, Gigi.
Oh,
so
so
supportive. So we
Such
just
a great cheerleader.
can't wait till your book is out
I
because you're going
know.
to have 4 of the best cheerleaders
Yeah,
for your
for sure.
book. Cannot wait.
Okay, Gigi says this workbook, 30 Days of Writing Sprint Prompts, is full of not only information like the why, how, where, and beyond of sprinting, but also the hosts of the Christian Indie Writers podcast personalities have made it to the written page. The 4 hosts of the increasingly popular podcast are fun to listen to or watch, depending on your medium, weekly, where they inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey to publication.
Aw.
I enjoyed the brief personal narrative, a behind-the-scenes perspective of actual sprints done on their show. The prompts are fun while nudging me out of my rut, sparking new creativity in my writing. The prompts, along with examples, showcase the diversity of the group, making this book relevant to writers of multiple genres. This workbook would be beneficial to anyone looking to improve their craft or spark some creativity of their own.
I give that review an A+.
Yes.
A+.
What an amazing review. Like, even if that was not about my book,
Uh-huh.
like, isn't that the kind of review you want to get as a
Yeah.
writer?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
she really put what she specifically liked
Yeah.
about the book. Like,
And she even
good
used
job.
our branding in it.
Yes.
And it was longer than my sprints even was.
That's true.
Very good. Maybe it was a writing sprint. for
Oh,
her.
maybe it
Yes.
was. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Gigi, because we know the comments are heartfelt. And do you know Gigi will write to us in like our messenger box and be like, "Hey, I really liked your feeding of the facts." Like, way to go, Gigi. Thank you for being such a cheerleader. So I will read this other review. This is an anonymous user. So if it's one of our chatty people, we really thank you. And whoever you are out there, we really appreciate this review because it was also a stellar, excellently written review. You people know how to write, so here we go. This workbook is filled with prompts to get you started sprinting, along with chapters written by the 4 authors and hosts of the Christian Indie Writers podcast, relaying their introduction to sprinting and NaNoWriMo, or National Novel Writing Month. If you have listened to the podcast, you will even hear the women's voices in your head as you read the chapters they've written. They are that identifiable. Sprinkled throughout the book are samples of some of the sprints they have shared on the podcast. The workbook is a great way to inspire and encourage yourself to put those fingers on the keyboard and get some words written. Though the authors are Christian, the book is geared toward the average writer who could use a nudge to make progress on their writing. We hope so. That's what we want, right? We want you to have a writing habit. And so we wanted it to be 30 days, right?
Yes.
We're all writing right now. Everybody's writing right now
Mm-hmm.
because it's NaNoWriMo. But what about establishing a daily writing habit? Like,
Mhm.
would you say that that's like an important thing? Someone take it away and talk about
Mhm.
writing habits and
Yep.
30 days and all of that stuff. What do you think, Tina?
Yeah, I think that having a habit of getting your butt in the chair is really important.
Yep.
I was teaching how to write a book at our homeschool co-op last year, and every week we didn't meet every week. Every other week, I would come in and say, "Okay, guys, what's the most important thing you got to do if you want to write a novel?" And the first few weeks, I got blank stares, but eventually they got it, and they said, "Write. You cannot write 80,000 words if you don't have a writing habit.
Mhm.
It's not going to happen."
And you've said before too that your novel that is now coming out, you started only writing during Nano, right?
Mhm.
And that went for how many years? And it wasn't
6 or 7.
right. And
Mhm.
if you hadn't started a daily habit, you wouldn't be
It
here.
would still be
Mhm.
a nano project.
Right.
Right.
My thing with Nano anymore, it's not that I don't try to get 50,000 words or try to win in whatever way I'm trying to win. It's just refreshing those habits because they get so off in the summertime. And so it's like a reboot for me.
Yeah, it's like recommitting to your writing career, right?
Mhm.
And so, like, speaking of that, should we quickly like do an update how we're doing on Nano? Is anybody in the chat talking about their what's up or anything? Because I don't have my chat window open.
Yeah, there were some.
Oh,
There
that's
is a lot of chat going on.
Whoa.
So we have a lot. So
We
I'm
love
gonna
our
go through.
chat.
We
If
do.
you're new to the podcast, you have to understand, like, we know this much about publishing books, but in our chat room is like a treasure trove of people who have published, who are like editors themselves, editing like other big projects. So you have a-
Newbies too,
yeah.
and a lot of newbies have a lot of great advice too.
you know,
Mhm.
head in there, and because everybody will be nice to you in our chat, because we all kind of are finding our way along together. We're here to encourage you and support you along the journey, because we were all brand new and we weren't published when we started doing this podcast. You were maybe, but I don't think all of
No,
them.
I
We were
wasn't
not
yet.
all published
No,
when we started doing
I was
this
close,
podcast.
but I wasn't published yet.
And now we're all published together.
Mhm.
We wrote a book together. Okay, I'm totally off the
Okay.
outline. What are we supposed to be talking
Okay,
I
about?
published
so-
2 books this week. This month.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right.
Wow. Overachiever. Wow.
All right, so we're going to kind of go backwards
Yeah.
because we didn't look at everyone
No, we
else's
didn't.
what's up. But Shell says, good morning, happy launch day. Thanks, Shell. Maria says, hey, everyone, nice to be back every couple weeks. Yeah, we missed you, Maria. So let's see. Gigi says, this time change has been rough on my dog. He is demanding to stay on the old time. It hasn't been rough on my dogs because they sleep all the time anyway.
Yeah.
They do nothing.
Right.
Like, I watch other people's dogs and they're like, they do all these tricks and stuff, and mine are lame. So lame. Pick up the pace, will you?
Because she gets good pets.
Right. Jason's here. Let's see who else is here. There was somebody.
Well, hi, Jason.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there were
Hi,
some
Marie. Hi,
WhatsApp.
Shell.
Oh, here, Piper has a
Piper.
WhatsApp. My WhatsApp have been working on upping my newsletter game.
Oh, yeah.
Found some old writing and decided to make one available to my newsletter as a short story.
What a good
download to the short
idea.
word. Woo, woo, good idea.
Mhm.
And Shell says, I just got that newsletter, Piper. Great content and layout.
Oh,
Appreciate the story.
nice
Looking
to
forward to it.
encourage
Oh,
her,
that's
Shell.
nice.
That's nice to see in the chat.
Maria's What's Up is this week I've been working on my Nano project. Also got an email from my publishers. My fantasy novel, Lottie's Locket, will be published at the end of the month.
So that's only the second book we've heard her publish.
Yeah.
No, not Maria. This will be her third, right?
Her third?
I'm pretty sure it'll be third.
She's really
Let us know,
ramping
Maria.
up her
Yeah.
promotion efforts. I've been seeing her offering Boy in the Snow on
Mhm.
sale and stuff like that.
And
She's
she
really,
just said that she might be having some kind of Facebook launch thing on the day. Let us know.
Yes.
We'll tell us in chat, because all of our friends here in chat will come and cheer you on.
Yep.
So yeah, lots of things going on. I think I got here, and Jason. My WhatsApp took several characters out of my book and gave my main character a sister. Really excited the way my story is going. I at the last minute took a character out of my book that I put aside for editing, but the third book of my series, and it just made everything come together. So
you never know.
sometimes
Kill
you
your
never know.
darlings, right?
I know, right?
And your characters.
Right. Look, she looks right at Rhonda.
Yeah.
You have to hurt them,
she's
Rhonda. Bad
avoiding
things
my
must
eyes.
happen to them. Yes.
She's avoiding me.
If you don't know why we're really saying that, actually, go back and watch. We did one Preptober live on Facebook, and so we talked about some ideas for Tina's next book that Rhonda did not like.
Yeah, because you've got to hurt your characters sometimes, because otherwise
don't
your
see
story.
why. You did not convince me.
I enjoy it. I don't know what I do. I don't know what. You know, when you're having a bad day
Okay.
and you really would like to do it to someone real and you can't, you just come
Right.
home and open up your work in progress. You find someone, maybe even write a character just so you can do something to them. I mean, nothing wrong with that.
All right, so we wanted to talk a little bit about our book and sort of like how it came about, and apparently, because that's what the outline says, but it was a small ideal at first, right, ladies? Just a way to kind of put together this work that we've done, these writing sprints, right? And to also help our listeners, because we really want to encourage people to be writing.
Yeah, and like we want to be able to reach other Christian writers to help them. And we've said this before, like we don't make any money on this podcast. We don't intend to ever make any money on this podcast. We don't intend to make any money on this book. Everything that comes in is going to go straight back into the podcast.
Because it costs money to do a podcast.
Yeah, we pay to do this. Right.
Yeah,
We
it's
joke
not-
about it, but because we feel very strongly that when we started, we didn't have a support system, and we wanted to create that. We wanted to continue to encourage Christian writers to continue, because it's hard, especially when like you're by yourself and you feel like you're on a little island alone. So the book was another way to reach out, because there might be writers out there that don't listen to podcasts now, or don't
do
listen to-
internet. Like a lot of people maybe are off the grid or whatever. I mean,
Right. And so it's just another way to help like continue to spread the love of writing sprints, which we feel very strongly about, and about like being like continue with your writing journey.
Yeah. Get better. Keep
Right.
writing. Get your brain going.
I don't know what's up from
Yeah.
the shoulders.
So, and we kept all those mistakes. Who wants to talk about that choice? Rhonda, why don't you talk about that? Because it was a formatting choice that we made, and you really liked that choice.
Yes. Okay. So when I first started sprinting, I had to quit doing it on my computer because I sat there and edited the whole time. So I started handwriting mine, and that became a really great thing for me. But, you know, handwriting, there's no backspacing. It's all scratching out. So we decided to prove that we don't edit as we sprint. We left all of the editing prompts from our document software.
Mhm.
We actually did screenshots, so you would
We did
see.
screenshots, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So none of them were corrected.
Right. Because we want to be vulnerable.
Yep. And we want to encourage you to not edit while you're sprinting either.
Right. Because the mistakes are edited out.
Yeah.
Later.
And it's
what
not the
editing
point of
is.
sprinting.
That's not what is the point of sprinting?
The point of sprinting is getting thoughts out and lubricating your brain and making it glow.
Mm-hmm. Right. Very, very good. Okay. Then, the next thing that I've got written down here is we are going to read an excerpt of our own essays that we wrote.
Before we do that, I
Yes.
really think we need to talk about how we discovered sprinting in the
Thanks.
first place.
Let's do that. That sounds like a good idea.
So we went on a road trip,
Oh, yeah.
and we drove up to Rogers City, Michigan, where Rhonda had a a summer house or
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we have to pause and say on the way up, Jen and I saw some creepy dolls on the side of the road, and we stopped to take pictures, remember? And we barely knew each other, but we saw there's these strange creepy dolls aligned on the side of the road, and we got out, we took pictures with the creepy dolls. It was that kind of a trip.
yeah, and then we
So,
made up a whole story
Yeah.
while we were up there about
yes, the
the
creepy
creepy
dolls.
Yeah.
dolls and the pizza guy and his body being in one
Yes.
with the
And we had sprinted at Nano events.
right.
Separately. Yeah.
Separately. But
Mhm.
like we really like it just was like some you did at Nano events, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
Right, but then you found the Pomodoro method
Mhm.
Yes.
and told us about it, and we said, let's do it. And so that whole weekend, I think it may have been
Forgot
3
that we
days,
Yeah.
we did Pomodoro sprints,
Mhm.
25 minutes and 5 or 10 minute
5,
breaks.
Yeah.
And we got so much
We were
done that weekend.
so productive that weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing about those sprints too, and nano things, they just give you a slip of paper and say, or you draw a slip of paper and they say, whatever the number is on the paper, that's how many words you're trying to get. There's no guidance for it whatsoever
Oh.
if you don't already have
Have
your own.
way.
idea.
Yeah.
So Gina brought another member of the group brought this book that had sprint prompts in it, which is
Yes.
similar to the book that we wrote. And so that the guidedness of the sprints is what really helped me, not just sitting there and trying to get 600 words out.
And then later we would read, like we were all using the same prompt,
Mhm.
and then we would read what we wrote to each other. And that was super fun to see how each of us attacked this
Yeah.
Mhm.
very same prompt
Yeah,
and
that was my
came
favorite
at
part.
it from a total different way.
And so the book is kind of like trying to give everyone else that experience, minus the being able to share with each other. You could do that online, or like in our heart of hearts, long-term vision, we would like to start providing retreats long
Yeah.
term. So just kind of be praying about that for us, because wouldn't that be great for us all to like be able to get together
Just
for,
like
after
this, but with
COVID.
all the people we see in the chat all the time. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? It could
Yeah.
be just intimate or whatever. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, and it's nice that it's so intimate because they feel like they can call us nerds or whatever, and we're totally cool with that.
Yeah.
I think I called myself a nerd. A bunch of people. So sorry. Side note: my laptop, if you're not, it is not a cover or anything. I have a limited edition Star Wars laptop.
I was with her when she bought it. She got so geeky happy
It
when
was-
it came out of the box. You should have seen her face.
It was an open box that they were trying to sell, and I had bought a different laptop, and it was garbage. And the store had to like make good for me, and they
Yeah.
brought it out all apologetic. We don't know if you're gonna like this or not, but we'll discount it a whole lot more. And I'm trying to keep a straight
I'm like,
face.
be cool, Jen.
Yeah, she
Be
was.
cool.
And
Don't charge
inside,
more.
I'm like, eek, and so I got a really great deal on it. So that's why I am a nerd, but
Yes.
I write romance and I watch sci-fi, so that doesn't really match up. And I'm never gonna
And
do
you have a
sci-fi
cute little
romance.
ass dog.
Well, I write
Yeah.
fantasy and I watch like crime
Yeah,
shows. So
I don't know. We're all kind of a motley crew. But that's another reason why we wanted to celebrate that we got this book launched, because, the only thing we really have in common is Christ, honestly.
Mhm.
Although
Mhm.
Rhonda and I discovered that we lived very close to one another. But other than geographical location and Christ,
Mhm.
there's not really a whole lot. Well, and we're all moms, but whatever. I mean, if you wanted to really examine
and we're all
personality
published
wise,
authors.
now we're all, yeah. So anyway, it was really like, I think, an exercise in unity, in Christian spirit of togetherness and the body of Christ, and just really feels like something to celebrate in that context. So thank you to all of you. All right, and so now we're supposed to talk. Oh, we're supposed to read our excerpts. Is it time for that now?
Mhm.
All right, I get to go last, because we're going in the order that they're in the book, which I am not first. Yay! Who is first? I don't
I'm
remember.
first.
Okay, and why were you first? What was your topic?
I was supposed to write about why sprint.
Okay, and you wrote an essay. It's a
I
very
did.
good essay, and it's chock full of information. Tina's going to read us a little bit of it right now.
I'm going to read it right from the middle where I get into the nitty gritty.
All right.
Doing a writing sprint every day will go a long way to developing a writing habit. It will train your brain to get into writing mode, write better, write faster, and produce more words. It's very similar to learning to play an instrument or doing a jump shot. The more you do it, the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the less you have to think about it. The less you have to think about it, the more proficient you become. With your mind free from having to focus on the fundamentals, the more you can think about how to make your notes sound richer, your legs jump higher, or your mind be more creative. There is actual science to back this up. There's an article in the New York Times, and it referenced a study done by a group of neuroscientists led by Martin Lotz out of the University of Greifswald in Germany. Did I pronounce that right, Jen?
I know, it sounds pretty close. I'm not looking at it,
Okay.
so I couldn't tell.
These neuroscientists hooked writers, both experienced and novice, up to special fMRI machines, which stands for functional MRI machines, and observed what was going on in their brains while they were writing. The results were, in my opinion, fascinating. But then I do tend to be fascinated by these types of things. Both groups of writers were given several different tasks to do that included copying, the writing of others, brainstorming, and actual writing. The differences between the experienced group of writers and the novices was apparent from before they ever began writing. They were using different areas of their brain. And so Dr. Lotz said, I think both groups are using different strategies. It's possible that the novices are watching their stories like a film inside their heads, while the writers are narrating it with an inner voice.
Love that.
Yep.
The most fascinating finding to me was that when the two groups began to write, another difference came to light. Deep in the brains of the experienced writers, the caudate nucleus lit up on the fMRI machine.
I think you just like saying caudate nucleus.
I really do. I really do.
So on that same retreat, I'm sorry, I thought you were.
In the novices, the caudate nucleus remained dark.
Oh.
Are you jumping up and down yet? Maybe you will when I tell you that the caudate nucleus is the part of your brain that plays an important role in learning skills that come with practice, such as playing a musical instrument, riding a bike, or doing a jump shot.
Yeah, that's really amazing. It's really weird and cool.
It's-
Cool, but weird.
At that same writing retreat we're talking about, Tina Jamie and I were in the same room because Rhonda had her own room because it was her house, right?
Yeah.
So we're on these
Poor
and
Rhonda.
lots of late night giggles and whatever. But this is when we first learned about this, about the brain glowing. And we're like, at first we're like, oh yeah, whatever. But then by the end of the weekend, and we could just see the improvement that we were making, it was like so obvious that this brain science thing was true. It was right.
What I kept thinking about, do you remember Glowworm when we were little? You would hug
Yep.
it and his head would light up.
Yep.
Like I kept thinking of Glowworm. I'm like, I want to be Glowworm. You squeeze me and my head lights up. Okay, so that's awesome. So that's a really good essay, Tina. And so if you heard us read those reviews earlier in the program, that's what people are talking about when they say that each of us wrote an essay, and presumably you can hear us reading it to you. Sorry about that. I know my voice is a little squeaky, but hopefully you will enjoy the essays and hear them as we wrote them, because they were each written by one of us. Who wrote the second essay? I
That would
cannot
be
remember.
me.
All right, Jen, so you
And
have
I
to go
wrote
next.
how, as Tina talked about a little bit earlier, I had discovered the Pomodoro method. It's not a new method, but it was new to me. And so this is part of mine. It was a few months into my writing career. I was still pantsing my first novel and had only recently stumbled across the phenomenon known as National Novel Writing Month. Mind you, I made the discovery on October 30th, 2 days before the event began. If you know anything about NaNoWriMo, you know that 2 days is probably not enough time to prepare for a nano project. If you know nothing about nano, I gave you a link to find it. I, however, did not realize this, so I foolishly jumped in with both feet on a brand new project with the goal of writing 50,000 words in 1 month. I say foolishly because within 1 week, I had fallen behind my daily goal of 1,667 words, and with my husband working out of state, had already faced the reality that I would be missing the first write-in for my nano region, a desperately needed opportunity to get caught up due to my lack of babysitting. So when my son and his friend volunteered to take my 3 daughters for the day, I jumped at the chance. But as I was out with only 10 minutes to spare before the beginning of the write-in, there wasn't time to also run home for my laptop. So I skipped into the nearest Walmart and grabbed a new notebook and a pen. And you believe I didn't have a pen? Can you believe I didn't have a pen on me? And that's all I'm gonna tell you. If you want to know how that turned out.
Very nice. Awesome. So yes, we have why you should sprint, how you should sprint, and then Rhonda, you got to write where way before like where was a thing.
Yes.
So tell us what you wrote about where once upon a time before it was a thing to worry about where.
Okay. Today is the day I read my great American novel, Tino. I got cozy on the couch surrounded by all my favorite things. A Christmas movie playing in the background, my iPad in my lap, and my puppy by my side. But I knew I couldn't really finish the book in one night. I had already cleared my calendar for the whole weekend. This is typical Rhonda. Think of a great project, buy everything needed to succeed, and steamroll ahead on adrenaline, only to slow to a grinding halt when things get difficult. Then I get bored. Why did I think this book project would be any different? Fast forward a few years. My energetic puppy is now a Methuselated old grouch. My same old couch is in a new living room, and that great American novel remains unwritten. Though this seems like a dirge of defeat, it is actually a tale of triumph, as I have learned so many valuable things along this journey. Not only have I learned that writing a novel is not a weekend project, I've learned that I need to take a custom approach to completing my novel, one that includes structure, accountability, and a plan.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
And if you want to know what the rest of that is,
Yeah.
you have to buy the book. Link in link in the description.
What you have to understand is it's very hard for me to pay attention in the first place. So while I did proofread these essays, I'm hearing them sort of for the first time because like when I'm proofreading, I'm not in a reader mode. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So to hear you guys reading these excellent sage pieces of advice, I'm like, wow, we put out something really nice. You know what I mean? Awesome. So far, so good. Finally, I gave you some beyond writing sprints. Okay, so like when you've been sprinting for, you know what I mean?
Sorry.
When you've been sprinting for a long time and you're as Methuselated as Tino, then you can.
Tino, not Tina.
No,
Just
not
so you
Tino.
know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know what Methuselated means. But I'll give it my
Oh,
best
real
shot.
talk, real talk. Methuselah is very old. So if you're Methuselated, you are like mummified old. Okay, so
Oh.
here we go. here's my final thoughts from the essay. I suppose you'd expect some beyond the word sprint advice here. Tips and tricks to help you craft better during your own sprints. Perhaps something like, one must be careful to limit events of the story to a single scene. Or, I must be careful not to introduce too many characters, or some other such rules. But I would proclaim no such thing. After all, who can say what is going to turn out to be important to you once the timer says go? And isn't that what ought to define a good sprint session? That you, the writer, be happy with the outcome? In fact, I'm beginning to rethink the title of this piece because I don't think a writer ever moves beyond word sprints. I think rather a writer evolves along with her word sprints, and they serve her in a very pragmatic way. In the beginning, they boost her confidence by helping her achieve a word count goal, but they serve the writer equally well as the competitive angle subsides. Because let's face it, most of us just really need a reason to actually sit down and do the writing. So that is how I feel about it. Sit down and write. If you have to set a timer to sit down and write, if you have to have 3 other Yahoos tune in to a stream account every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 10 o'clock, and you know they're going to be there, do what you need to do to get the writing done. Because you can't, what?
You can't edit a blank page.
Right.
Oh, so good.
It's not mine, but I know everyone keeps attributing to me. I got it from someone else.
Yeah.
But
So,
it's
all right.
very true. It's
Mhm.
very, very true.
All right.
Piper says, right, Jamie, and that, this is from earlier, I think, right, Jamie, and that is why it's a cool thing that I heard the essays in your voices. Were you our other?
Yep.
She was, I missed that part.
It was an amazing, like,
Yeah.
you should, like, you cannot write reviews professionally, but like, you and Gigi both, like, how, like, amazing. Like, you should do a class. How to write a good essay, critique essay. Very beautiful work. All right.
And if you were one of our many people that did download our book for free and would be willing to give us and it doesn't have to be positive. If you
No,
don't like the book,
honest.
that's fine. Please give us an honest review. We would really, really appreciate it because again, we just want this book to get out into other writers' hands.
Mhm.
We think it'll be helpful right now during Nano as people might be struggling to get the words in. Well, like today, today, our sprint, I wrote in my world's character, even though it was just a normal like sprint topic.
Get those words.
Get those words in and it helps. So crack open the book, pick one of the prompts and write in the world of what your book is. You may not use it, but surprisingly you might, because I'm a little disappointed in what I wrote today because I really want to craft it. But as I'm writing it, I'm really like, I really wanted to get those words out, but I wanted to stop so I could craft it. Cause now I'm thinking this is going to be a really pivotal scene that I didn't even know existed before the sprint. So
Exactly. And here's the thing. It's not wasted. Okay.
it's never wasted.
Because now you know more about everybody and everything that happens. So it will flavor what you write in the future. So even if you don't use that exact piece of writing, you know your world so much better now because you've explored it through that piece of writing.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's all gonna help your writing to get better. There's no wasted time if you're writing.
So it will help you with Nano, we believe, but we also beyond Nano, we think that just like we said earlier, daily habit.
Get published, man. Get across the finish line.
And what a great way to beat writer's block.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll tear down the wall like Kool-Aid Man.
Mhm.
Bust down through.
That cherry flavor.
I like fruit punch. Okay, squirrel. All right. So, are we supposed to start doing the feeding of the backs now? I'm not sure.
Yes, we are.
Yes. Awesome, Jennifer. I always pick you to go
You
first.
always do.
What today, pray tell, was the writing club? By the way, if you are just joining us for the first time ever, let me explain that we do a writing sprint every Friday when we get together, just before we come live on the air. In fact, I started streaming mine. If you want to look at J.R. Nichols on Facebook, that's my
Please
author
don't.
name.
Not today.
Not today, because I told
That
him,
was
I'm
the
like,
sound done.
I always leave the microphone live because I think people like to hear me go when I'm typing.
I
So
don't think she
"Guys,
said this out loud.
I did.
She did.
I did. And I said, and then so Jennifer right away is like, blah, 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 talking. I'm like, we're live. You're live. So you'll hear if it worked, because I don't know. The like internet connection was wonky. J.R. Nichols is my author. Facebook, you'll hear shenanigans if it works. Anyway, 15 minutes, set the timer, do the sprint with us, and then share, because we would like to read what you came up with. What was the prompt today?
what if a person who can't forgive needs forgiveness?
Yes, and we only give positive feedback on these because we do not edit before we share them with each other.
And this one, if you look at our Instagram or our Twitter or Facebook, we share before the podcast so that you guys can also sprint along with us. And we would love it if you would share it on social media and tag us so that we can share it for everybody else, because it's kind of good to get a little bit of exposure like that so that when you have to put your book out in front of people for the first time, you are used to getting some critique. This one is not in quotes. You do not have to have the exact wordage in there. But again, we're not there to force you either. So when I read mine, you'll see that it was inspired, but I didn't get anywhere near finishing the scene. So it may not even feel like I hit the sprint, but this sprint inspired the scene. So, okay. I'm not chatting, Jen.
That's all right. I just get distracted. My mother is texting me.
Oh,
That's so sorry.
I
Go
can
ahead.
get this bigger. No,
Uh-oh.
that's not.
Can you
Okay,
read it?
I
Do you
can
need
read
me
it.
to help you? Okay.
Marjorie slammed the door in his face and marched directly to the kitchen, hoping the ostentatious, is that the right word?
Yes.
Mahogany door broke Ryan's nose.
Oh.
She pulled open the freezer and pulled out the half-gallon chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream she had stashed there earlier that
There you
day.
go.
Wow.
It's a bad day.
What do you think
That's
you
a
were
good
going?
day.
What do you think you were going to accomplish with that stunt? He asked angrily. You do realize you can't lock me out unless you somehow figure out how to change my code in my security system. Challenge accepted, she muttered over her shoulder as she stuffed another oversized bite into her already full mouth. It wasn't a challenge, and unless you are some sort of tech genius, it's an impossibility. She whipped around to face him. How do you know I'm not? You know nothing about me. All you know is that what you assume about me, and as you learned tonight, all of your assumptions are crap. I'm not an idiot. I never said you were an idiot. Not with words, but you've done nothing but treat me like an uneducated hobo since the minute we met. You have never seen me as anything but beneath you. I have a higher education than you. You know that, right? Or but I like to say it right. Well, I didn't know that, but even if I didn't, even if I was an uneducated and just a waitress, what gives you the right to treat anyone the way you treat me? Marjorie, what gives you the right to treat anyone the way you treat them? You are an arrogant jerk. She slammed the carton on the marble countertop. Ryan sighed. Would you just let me, explain yourself like you did tonight? Seriously, Ryan, I've never been more humiliated in all my life. I have no idea what he said.
That's okay.
And I worked in a diner. Are you finished? Marjorie glared at him. She didn't want to be finished. She had so much more aggression she wanted to expel, but uncharacteristically, she had run out of words. She stabbed her spoon into the container. Yes, she yelled with a mouthful of ice cream. I'm sorry. 3, 2, 1.
I love it.
I typed I'm sorry after 3, 2, 1 because I wasn't going to say I'm sorry yet there, but.
Yes, and that was another thing. So I told them my microphone is live, so hushity hush. And then the timer goes off, and they're like, "No way, the time's up already." I'm like, "Shh, I'm still live," and they're like, "I need a warm behind you."
Your
I was
listeners got an authentic
They
experience.
did today.
Yeah.
So
That's funny because
anyway.
mine starts with a slamming door also.
Well, why don't we do yours next? And by the way, Jen, that was amazing. Is
Oh,
anybody in the
was,
chat
yeah.
to say, because I cannot see,
Looking.
but it's really good, Jen, because
Yeah,
I like this
I
character.
can't
Her
wait
name
to
is
read this book.
Marjorie. Yeah.
Her name is specifically Marjorie. I had to pick a name. I mean, I don't know if I'm keeping. I think I'm going to keep it.
I like it.
It has to be a name that is familiar, but that you don't find a lot, and that plays into the story, but you won't know until you read it. So.
Mhm.
Here we go.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's your
But-
first contemporary.
So the reason I was I was happy I was doing it, but as I'm doing it, I'm like, I really want to craft this. I don't want this to be a sprint, but I just kept sprinting it. But that's going to be I'm going to go back and there's going to be so different than what it
But
is.
it's so good too because they're
skeleton.
fighting, and you
Yeah.
want to write fast when they're fighting because
Mhm.
it's a
True.
fast thing that's happening. The dialogue is,
True.
well, now what would she say? No, it needs to be snappy.
Right.
So arguments are great to write in a sprint, I think, because it's the right or chase scenes.
And dialogue, any kind of dialogue
Yeah.
would be good.
Yeah, and you're really good at dialogue in sprints.
Absolutely, you are. Great job.
I like that you say I'm really good at it. It's usually my my safety net. In
Oh.
fact, I start writing.
Oh.
Did I already pick someone to go next?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Sheila slammed the door. She couldn't believe that jerk had the nerve to suggest that he wasn't at fault in this whole situation. Wasn't he the one who had been sending inappropriate texts to his co-worker?
Mm.
Wasn't he the one who had accused her of doing the same thing when what she had said was purely innocent?
Mm.
He had tried to claim his texts were purely innocent. Sure they were. He was only projecting his guilt on her.
Mm.
Well, she was done with him. She was done with love in general. Men just weren't worth the emotional payout, not worth the pain when it all ended badly. Much better to get herself a cat and be by herself. There were worse things in life than being an old cat lady.
We were just talking about getting a cat. Anyway, go ahead.
She sat in her recliner by the front window and looked at the pile of his things on the curb. The wind picked some of the pages of his latest manuscript and carried them into the street,
Uh-oh.
where they settled into a puddle.
Ooh, that's tough.
Serves him right, she thought sullenly.
She's mad.
The tinkling of her ringtone interrupted her thoughts, and she looked at her screen. It was Brad from the library.
Oh.
She hesitated and then answered. Hello? Hey, Sheila. Brad here. What are you up to today? Nothing really, she said, looking out the window as the wind picked up several more pages of the manuscript. Great. Well, I was wondering if you want to have dinner with me. Dinner? Her face grew hot. Why? Because I like you. His tone of voice made it clear he thought that was obvious.
Aw.
And after your text the other day, it's pretty clear to me you like me too. Sheila's heart sank, her stomach roiled, and she looked out the window once more as Philip's magnum opus spread across the wet pavement.
Oh, Gina, run and get
I
those
can't.
papers.
I've got to go. She hung up without waiting an answer and rushed outside, scrambling to pick up the scattered pages off the wet pavement.
Yay.
As she gathered them into a pile, they began to stick together. Her heart raced and she felt like crying. She managed to gather all the scattered pages and was headed to the pile of Philip's things when she saw his car come around the corner at the end of the block. Oh no, she cried, trying to decide what to do, her mind abandoning her. And at that moment, the skies opened up and it began to pour.
Oh.
3, 2, 1.
Tina.
No.
She deserved it though. She's the one. Like, I mean, wow, that's so full of like, I want to sit with that and talk about it for a long time.
Mhm.
That's really
Mhm.
chock full of meat there.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Piper
In
says,
15
"Oh no,
minutes.
Tina! Oh no!" That's exactly what the rest of us are
Yes.
experiencing.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
That's what the
Very
character was experiencing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right, yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, no.
Yes. Wow, Tina, you really gave her a comeuppance. See, I didn't do so good with the prompt. I kind of like forgot what I was supposed to be writing about. That happens a lot. Very good. I love a
Thanks.
comeuppance.
However, you wrote.
I did write.
So if a sprint just gets you writing, even if you
Yes.
don't even hit the sprint. That's happened to me before
yeah,
too.
I'll
You get
read
to the end.
mine. Yes.
Especially the word sprints. How many times have we like done word sprints and then we get to the end and we've used none of them? But we said,
But it was like so good what we wrote.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, wait. I know my sprint is here somewhere. Here it is. Okay, so I'll read mine next. That way it's not me talking a whole bunch of time in a row. Here he was, in the waiting area of Kentonese house, for the last time it seemed. There was no reason to come back to this side of town, except for special dinners on occasions like this, and Tommy had no desire to ever endure another occasion like this one. He'd really blown it this time, and the scene needed to be set just right. What did she expect, though, he mused, traveling as much as she did for business, leaving him to fend for himself. There was no one there to greet him when he got home, the kids having left for college and all the dogs having long since gone to their eternal resting spots in the backyard. There wasn't even the happy chatter of a canary available to keep him company. Tommy brought his mind back to the restaurant and noticed for the first time the hostess was just a bit taller than his own daughter. He got up and meandered over to the corner of the room near the hostess stand where a fish performed idle circles in a dirty tank as the children waited for tables, distracting themselves by tapping on the glass. It was a thinly veiled attempt to get a better look at the girl in a non-creepy way. She just reminded him of his daughter is all. Millie had reached 5'7.5" the last time he'd measured, and then had stopped asking. Volleyball and debate club friends having long since replaced any curiosity about whether or not she'd finally caught up to Daddy. Someday she'll be sorry she's not around to hear my good advice, Tommy whispered to the fish. Burke party of two, the hostess said. Tommy walked to their table with his head held high, the same way he'd done on the evening of their proposal. As he passed the same sea of anonymous faces, all of course turning in his direction to see the handsome and obviously very important man who just entered the room, he remembered the ridiculous sensation so many years ago of the ring literally vibrating as though it were desirous itself to leap from its hiding place in his jacket pocket and onto Tony's finger. He'd wanted so badly to capture her, he realized now. But she's not a woman you can keep. Not in that way, at least, he mused, as the waiter blathered on about specials. Tommy allowed himself to be talked into a decent red and then glanced over at a fidgeting sap in a suit coat that obviously belonged to his father, working desperately to impress a young girl in a cheap dress who looked astonished at even being able to afford to go to a place as fancy as the Catanese house. That's what I should have done, Tommy mused. Found myself a girl willing to accept this as fancy. He chuckled and bit into one of the crispy breadsticks the restaurant offered, decoratively placed in tall glass vases in the center of every table. He munched it in haste, taking greedy bites. The end.
That was so good.
It was. Okay, I have one question
What?
before my praise.
Why are there breadsticks at a Cantonese restaurant? I have no idea.
No. Is the ring really vibrating?
It was.
Is this going to be like,
No, that was a flashback to when he proposed to her at the same restaurant.
uh-huh,
So when he came to get her the first time, he could feel the ring there.
uh-huh.
And
But is it a
he's-
magical ring? Is it?
He thought it was magical, but couldn't make her love him.
Oh.
I'm really sorry about the dog and about having to leave, but I.
Oh, I thought you were really
sorry.
sorry for Tommy.
No,
I
I'm
was
really
like,
sorry
I
for
really
Tommy
moved you.
too. Oh, you did.
It was.
I
It
can
was
hear. My
so
house is
good.
little. I heard the whole thing, but I love like this the setup. Like for me, immediately when you said like the Cantonese restaurant, all of a sudden I was there, and then the Dirty Fish Tank. How many restaurants? Like I don't know if it's around
Yeah.
the world like that, but so I never could figure that out why they always had dirty fish tanks.
Yes.
But yeah, it's so good, Jamie.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you liked it. All right. So that,
Gigi says Jamie enjoyed it. Jason says I was thinking the same thing, Rhonda. Shell says, wow, great details. Love the backyard resting place. Yeah, me too. The fish tank, the vibrating ring. So good.
okay, super duper. I'm so glad everybody liked it. Now we get to hear Rhonda's.
Okay, well, this will be short.
All right.
I
I had
always say that. And
Well,
it
it's
never
so good.
feels. It
Never
feels
feels
short.
short. Mhm.
Okay, well, I had no idea what direction I was going in. I literally just started typing words.
Yay. That's what you're supposed to do. Good job.
Yes, okay. I try to muffle the laughter boiling in my chest and barely keep it in. My shoulders are shaking with the effort and tiny beads of sweat glisten on my forehead. I've waited so long for a moment like this, and now here it is, and I'm trying to stifle myself. Is this what they call maturity? I don't like it. Maribel's face is coloring quickly, and her posture is stiffer than ever. Her eyes are darting around the room as if looking for an exit. I find myself wishing it was just the two of us in that room, that all these other faces would disappear or at least quit staring at her. Or if some of them would close their gaping mouths. For some reason, pity overwhelms me, and I don't understand why. I've waited for a moment like this for decades, and now here it is, and all I want to do is help her escape. Mayor, I begin, but she stops me with an uplifted talk to the hand motion. There must be some mistake, she says, sounding remarkably composed for someone in her awkward position right now. But I just want to, no, just sit down, Anne. I have to figure out what happened. Everyone, she directed her steely gaze, which I knew to be panic, toward the room full of volunteers. If you'll work on something else for a few minutes, I'm sure I can recover these files. I sit back and relax for the first time and
No.
yes.
See, you always do this.
Yes, it is
okay.
my favorite part of the
I
podcast.
cannot wait until you have published this book that I can read. I can open the cover and get all satisfied and not have any more cliffhangers. Rhonda, you're really great with the cliffhangers, gotta say.
Oh, thanks.
Mhm.
Do you go back, like when you like this right here? Obviously, there's more. Do you ever find time to go back and finish them, or do you have a bunch of these hanging out there and we're never going to find out?
You're bored
No,
with them
this
now,
one,
right?
I don't know if, like, literally, I didn't even know where my next sentence was going to be. So I don't know if I'll go back to this one.
But there's so much like what is going
Yeah.
on?
Well,
Yeah.
Do you
I
even know?
could use the disaster.
Yeah.
Really.
Do you know what happened here? Like, is this from your like, or is this just random?
Well, I'm
smash?
pretty sure that person A said, save your files like this and then duplicate them.
Mm.
And then this person said, I know what I'm doing. I've done it right the first time. I don't have to do it a second time. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
I'm pretty sure I know people like that. I'm
I'm
not saying which one
pretty
of
sure
those I
get
am.
people like that.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure which one of those two I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you which one I am.
Wow, Rhonda, yeah. And I love how she's like conflicted because she
Mhm.
wants to celebrate and jeer, but then she knows it's just not nice to do that. But
Yeah.
still you want to be like, ha ha, I told you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I feel that so hardcore. Very, very nice. Awesome.
All
All
right.
right. So what happens after feeding of the bats?
Oh,
we gotta
Gigi
see-
says, your descriptions paint a scene in my mind. Love
Mhm.
it. Yes. Piper, Rhonda, I can feel her wanting to be gleeful and yet pinching it to try.
Pitching and yeah.
Thank you.
mhm, yeah.
To try to help her escape.
Got
Yes.
it, yeah.
Yep. Shell says, so good, Rhonda. Wanted more. So,
Thank you,
all right.
everybody.
Yep. So
Awesome. Okay, so now I guess it's just time to talk about what's next for us, eh?
good. Yeah.
What's next? And we'd like to know what's next for you guys in the chat too. I know last week you all stated that you had some writing goals, and so we'd like to know how you did. chime in the chat. And
It's
let us know.
Nano, so everybody should have something to report.
I mean, come on. Did y'all write? What's going on?
I'll go first
Yeah,
so
go
that
first,
everybody
go
feels
first.
comfortable. I got no writing done this
Oh,
week.
well, you know.
So
But you've
report
got
that.
a lot of other stuff done.
Oh my gosh.
In your personal life.
In my personal life, a lot of things are done. There are a lot of boxes and things you can't see. There are a lot of things happening. But I did write. I mean, I shouldn't say I didn't get any writing done. I did write. I did outline. I pretty much think I know where the
You wrote
story is
today?
going. I did write today. So I'm excited about this story. I really am. And I can't wait to get more into it.
Well, and you had said your first few Nano days are going to be prep anyway. And I
Yes.
personally would count getting your personal house in order as part of that. Because if you didn't have the time to do that in October and you've told your family, I'm booked in November,
Mhm.
why not take those first few days to make sure you don't have stuff that you're forgetting,
Mhm.
you know, so that you can actually focus on the work of writing. So good for you.
And I know that I can catch up
Yes,
because I
you
have
know,
caught up
you have
before.
experience.
I've
It's not a
experienced
stall
that.
tactic for you.
But if you don't know if you can catch up, don't be sad about it. Like, just start now. So you don't get 50,000 words. Great.
So?
Start now. Let's see how many words you can get. So you get 30,000. Awesome. You wouldn't have had those 30,000.
30,000 words. I mean, if you got 10,000, anyone
Yeah.
who's never written anything to write 10,000 words, that's a huge deal.
Huge.
So don't let the 50,000 number scare you away. What's next for you, ladies? Who wants to go next? Tina, since you're on the end, what's up? What's next for you?
Well, I've been working on like a lot of pre-stuff for my novel for book 2. And I have been doing writing because part of the process that I'm going through, like you write pre-scenes and you flesh them out. And it's the stuff that happens right before your story starts.
Okay.
So that you know the background and it's clear in your mind and you have details.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you start your story, you already have that stuff done. So that's the writing I've been doing, and I'm right up to the part where I'm making scene cards and writing the first scene, and then I got to write the first scene, but I have it all planned out. I just have to write it, and also the last scene in the book.
Ooh.
That's exciting. Okay, and so say again your technique for writing Nano this year. Tell everybody
I'm
what you're
using
doing.
Story Genius by Lisa Crone,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm following the book step by step. I had found it halfway through my last book, and I decided I wanted to use it for the second book, and follow her directions exactly and see how that helped me. So this is kind of an experiment, and is this the way I'm going to write from now on, or am I going to tweak it? So, but I always, just like when I'm cooking, I always follow the recipe exactly the first time,
Mhm.
and then I start to change it after that. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
Is that what's that gonna do with the consistency between the first and the second book?
Excuse me.
I don't think it's going to be a problem at all.
Good.
It might make this one better.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. While you guys are over there, Jennifer's teased me. She's like, mute your microphone next time. I'm like,
Yeah, they never
Tinker.
listen when I'm talking.
I'm
Usually
sorry.
it's because I've muted myself.
Yeah, we're just so used to it.
Poor
Shut-
Bambina.
Shell says her what's next. Finish reading and review Tina's book.
Yes,
Yay.
yeah.
Finish editing her short story. Piper says, "And what's next?" Aunt fell down the stairs.
Oh,
No.
Helping her get into rehab feels like I'm
Oh.
avoiding my work in progress.
No.
But working on a newsletter. Well, she said
Oh,
it feels like it. And other people and other projects need to focus on work
Okay,
in progress.
okay.
Yes,
Wow.
I'm so bad.
Sorry
at that.
about your aunt. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow.
And it's
good
so
thing
hard
she
to
has you
focus
help.
when there's stress
Yeah.
going
Yes.
on around you. And
Mhm.
Yeah, stress
I
is a
get that.
paralyzer. Like when I had writer's block, it was completely stress. It was all in
Yeah,
my
but
head.
it's
We're
good
in
to recognize it though when you're.
You were
when
like
you're
in my
doing something.
situation now.
Yes.
You're like in a mid move, and yeah,
I
I
was gonna
remember
shave
those
my
days.
head.
Oh, I
That's
remember
why
that.
I'm
Just
writing
part
this
of it.
book, because it was like I was all punk rock because of that. All right, so I'll say what's my what's next. So guess what?
What?
My what's next is sending chapter 1 to my beta readers.
Are you done with the book?
No,
No, but
chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
Because what I want to do is I want to send them one chapter at a time, and then I've got these questions for them because I think it's done and ready to go to Dennis. But once it goes to Dennis, I'm changing nothing. So if I think it's done enough to go to Dennis, it needs to be read by a reader. And these
Right.
are readers who've read my stuff in the past and have reached out to me to say, please, when you write something else, send to me. Because what I want is the reader's experience. Is the reader confused about my world? Does the reader care about my character? Because when I ask writers, I get a lot of advice that I don't want.
Yeah.
I just want to know, what is the reader experience? Are you confused? Do you like the story? And so that's what I'm getting from these few beta readers. And so I'm going one chapter at a time because then I feel like I'm accomplishing something, and it trains them to treat my work the way I want them to. So I'm
Mhm.
asking them very specific questions, which will hopefully make them organically think of questions to ask as they continue reading.
That's a really good
'Cause
tip.
I want to make as much use of these people who are reading as I can. And so I tried to be pretty thoughtful about who I selected and what I'm asking them. And I hope it ends up working out for me. So just exciting to be able to say part of it is legit finished. I do not want to change another thing about that chapter unless someone finds that I'm embarrassing myself. It's so weird. To be
That's
like,
awesome.
to have one part of it like done. I know it's just a chapter.
I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
Mhm.
So excited for that.
Yes. So I'm on track. So yay for me.
Maria's what's next is carry on my Nano project, trying science fiction, which I'm really
Oh,
enjoying.
awesome.
Get newsletter stuff done. Nearly there, just to finish writing automation.
Yeah. the
Teresa
automation.
Thomas, I showed up for myself every day. Good for
Yay.
you, Teresa. I've hit more than 16,000
Wow,
words.
Good
that's
job.
fast.
That
Well, how
is
many
really great.
days? 6 days. Wow.
My goal for next week is more of the same. Show up
Show up and get words. That's how it's
Awesome.
done.
That is awesome.
Eat that elephant one bite at a time. Who didn't we hear from? Rhonda, what's next?
I'm gonna follow Teresa's lead and show up every day and try to get my words. Just keep working on my habits.
Awesome.
And
I'm sorry that my
keep
phone
progressing.
interrupted you. I forgot to mute it. Yes, I don't blame you. So have you been writing or have you been prepping? Because I know you were going to take a few days to organize your thoughts. So how's it been?
yes, I've pretty much got most of the prep done, and I've been trying to do it in the workbook, of course, for social media reasons, and also for just to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I
By
think,
the book, you mean your book. You
Yes.
Speak
this
about
book.
your book. Yes.
yes,
You're not going
Plot your
to.
novel
Yes,
with
plot.
this workbook.
yes, that one.
Say it again. Say it right, like how you'll say it when you're fancy.
Oh, and I'm fancy.
Yes.
Oh well.
Be bougie.
Yeah.
With the pinky up.
Yes.
Yes. So plot your novel with this workbook is the one that I put together with my mom, Dee Dee Bowman. That's our pen name. So anyway, I've been using that one, and I'm really happy with the workbook.
Yeah, it's really good,
Yeah.
Rhonda. I know. Doesn't you surprise yourself? Because like earlier, was it? Did I write this? Do you know what I mean? Like you just forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
It's been a long time since you visited. It's a good book.
Well,
Believe it or
thank
not, Rhonda.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't we all do that? Like,
Yeah.
really? Someone like that? It's like, well, I liked it good enough to publish it once, so I guess someone else might like it. Isn't that
Mhm.
weird?
It is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
I called my friend Dave the other day because I needed some naval advice.
Yeah.
There's a Navy ship. In
I thought you meant about your belly button, but I was
Oh,
not going to ask.
no, like Navy. He was in the Navy, and usually I would call my dad, but my dad passed away in
Oh,
2008, and you have those moments where you forget.
Yeah.
Like I need to.
Yeah.
So I call him
Mhm.
because I need to know like specifics about
Yeah.
Navy. Anyway, he just kept going on and on and on about how much he liked my book, and it was almost
Oh.
embarrassing. Like you don't know what to say. It's weird. It is weird.
Mhm.
Jason says, I'm sorry. Sorry. I feel like I just cut you off. I didn't mean to.
No.
Finish Tina's book and review. That's a good thing. Behind in my writing where I hope to be, I have a little bit of prep for a funeral tomorrow I'm doing with a pastor for my church.
Well,
Hope so. Of course, that's going to be important to do. Hope to get a few thousand words in. Well, we are praying for you, Jason, because we know that this is going to be a great book too.
Yeah, and then on a personal note, I just happen to know that Jason had thought about a career in the ministry, so I'm really glad that the pastor is mentoring you that way. So good for you in your career too.
Piper says, I'm thinking of trying to brainstorm via digital recorder and transcribing on Word to get some words in. Okay.
Oh,
I would love to hear the progress on it.
So speaking of these chapters that I found, they are chapters that I had dictated.
in like Dragon or something you use.
Yes. And so I really want to get a point in life where I can do maybe my contemporaries through in the dictation like that. So, but there were some problems, but that's okay. Like, that's why I'm going to rewrite them. But the fact that I already have kind of them written, like in a skeleton, that it's going to make it so much easier when I go to write them. So yeah, so that's really great.
Awesome. Okay, so I think, did we cover everything?
We did.
Mhm.
We really appreciate everybody who has downloaded the book. If you have not gotten your free copy of our book, or if you just want to go and buy it just to help us out, that's good too. That would be a donation to help this podcast continue going. Buy it for a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Buy a bunch of them. Give
It's a
them
great
out.
stocking stuffer.
It really is. I know, it's
Buy it for the
ridiculous.
writer in your life.
Yes.
Not for my size stuff.
But you can still get a free copy if you go to our website, ChristianIndieWriters.net, and sign up to be a member of our, subscribe to our newsletter, and you can get a free copy. If you've gotten a copy, if you've had a look at it, please go to Amazon and give us a review.
Honest.
Honest review. Does not have to be positive. Doesn't have to be as glowing as the two we got, which we really
Mhm.
appreciate. Thank you, ladies.
Yes, they were
But-
so wonderful.
Yep.
But-
Bad reviews help us too.
Yeah.
We just want you to be honest. But everything we're doing with the book and everything else is just to further reach out to other Christian writers. So whatever you can do to help, we'd appreciate.
And
Yeah,
I'd
and
just
by-
like to say that Lost in the Land of the Midnight Sun will fit in your stocking.
Way to plug that book, Tina. I love it. And I just would like to say that if you subscribe to our newsletter, would you please open it and read the newsletter? Because I work really hard on those little newsletters. And then Jen tells me the open rate, and I'm like, how come nobody's reading my little newsletter? Because I try to be witty and fun. So I'm really not as upset as I'm pretending to be, but we do send you a newsletter. And so if you are on our newsletter subscriber list, you should be looking at those because we keep you up to date on what's going on in the podcast and we refresh your mind about things that we've covered in the past. So do take a look at that. And if you're not on our mailing list, you should subscribe. You don't just get the free book. You get to know and never miss an episode of the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. What else? Are we done?
We are done.
Done and done. So until next time, may your pen be prolific, may your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ. Bye for now.
Bye.